Hi, I'm QDC. What we're going to build today is Dragon's Soviet self-propelled anti-aircraft gun. Now, the name of this actual vehicle is actually in Russian, and these are actually acronyms. So for those of you who are Russian, I'm going to have to apologize for my poor pronunciation of the Russian language. It is pronounced as Zenitnye Samohodnye Ushkanovka, which means self-propelled anti-aircraft gun. 23 means that it's a 23 millimeter cannon, and 4 means that it has 4 cannons. And the reason why I bought this particular kit was because of I was just really questioning about what I was taught about Russian vehicles. When I was growing up, I was taught that any type of Russian military vehicle were inferior to my own country's military vehicles, and that's not necessarily the case at all. This is a very deadly weapon. This was developed back in the late 1960s and is still being used today, and it was designed to defeat low-flying aircraft. So if, for example, if I was a Black Hawk helicopter pilot, this would be my greatest enemy, because if this thing fired, it would literally shred my helicopter up into confetti. It's a very powerful weapon. So let's go ahead and start building this kit right now. Let's go take a look inside this box. We have the instruction sheet, decals, wheels, guns, figures, small arms, tracks, various parts for the hull, lower hull, turret, and the upper turret. Okay, so there's 14 steps in this instruction sheet, and I always seem to be very much of a skeptic really about Dragon's instructions, because although they make very good kits, their instructions tend to be iffy, not that great in terms of telling you how to build your own kits. So I'll just go ahead and just take it one step at a time and see where it takes me. It's time for me to glue the tracks. What you see right here is the track system, and each track is individually linked. And so what I have to do is I'm going to have to use glue, this glue right here, to glue each individual track together, let it set, and then put it onto the model. I want to talk to you more about a limitation of this kit. When I put on the tracks, it's not perfect. If you notice right over here, there's some gaps along the tracks going on to the rear sprocket. I tried my best to drape it on perfectly, but it just didn't work out. So there is an imperfection over here. And also, right over here, the tracks are not perfectly flush along with the chassis. If you know the chassis here, you see it's perfectly straight over here, but the tracks are not. Again, I tried to make it straight, but it just didn't work out. So this is a limitation of this particular kit, but it's not taking away any of the fun I'm having from making it. What you're looking at right now is the gun, and in this particular gun it doesn't have a gun barrel. It's not, there's no hole in there, so I'm going to use the end of my hobby knife and make one. I just finished building these cannons and they look pretty good. They're very detailed, and this is the most complicated part of the entire model. Building these cannons took me a long time. These 4 cannons took me roughly about 3 hours to make. Alright, so I just finished building the kit, and before I'm going to paint it, I want to show you and tell you what I think about this kit so far. Take a look. This is the computer model kit before painting, and it looks pretty nice. What I like the best about this particular tank is really the turret itself. It's extremely detailed. The guns are exquisite, and the details on the turret, including this real nice radar, makes this tank, this model, real nice. Now, like I said earlier, I didn't like the tracks. Since these are not magic tracks, they're not perfectly placed on the suspension system, which is a shame. But other than that, this is a very good model. Very, very nice and detailed, and I highly recommend it. It's time for me to paint my model kit. I just installed my homemade hood because I'm going to use enamel spray paints. If you plan to use enamel spray paints like I do, then it's always a good idea to actually install hoods to actually vent all the vapors out into the open. I just spray painted the entire model with the primer, and also I gave it a coat of black paint to give it shadows. I removed the hood because from here on out I'm going to use acrylic spray paints. So right now I'm going to spray the entire model with the base color. I'm going to protect my entire model by spraying it with a coat of Future Floor Wax. I'm about to give a model a wash. What you see right here is a dilution of black artist oil paint and mineral spirits, and I'm going to just put that onto the entire model to give it a wash. I'm going to do some dry brushing. What you see right here is a lighter color of the main color, and what is dry brushing is I'm going to take a brush, put some of the paint onto the brush, then take most of it out, and then very gently and lightly put it onto the model to give highlights. I'm going to add some mud effects. What you see right here is it's a dilution of yellow glue and water, and right over here is a bottle of towel grout. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on the glue where areas where I want mud, and then I'm going to simply sprinkle on the towel grout. I'm going to simulate worn out metal. I'm using an ordinary pencil and putting it on places where I think there's going to be worn off paint. I'm not going to overdo this because this is a modern day tank, and most modern day tanks, if they're not going to war, they're fairly well kept by the mechanics, and so paint chipping and worn metal, it's really almost non-existent because it's so well maintained. Okay, so I built the kit, I painted it, I weathered it, and now it's time for me to show you what I think about this entire kit from start to finish. Take a look. This is the completed model kit from start to finish, and it looks very nice. Now originally I had a friend take a look at this, and he said it was just a little bit too dark, so I basically repainted the entire model kit by giving it a light tint of a lighter green, and it actually worked out pretty well. It looks very, very nice, and the details are really good. I like it a lot. The most impressive part I like about this kit is really the turret. It looks extremely realistic to me. The four cannons are very, very accurate, as best as I could see, and the radar looks pretty darn well itself. Very good kit, highly recommended. That completes this model kit. So this is actually a very good model kit, but the only problems I have with this particular kit is the tracks. They were a little bit lopsided, and the tracks didn't fit the rear sprocket very well. But as far as I know, at the time of this recording, Dragon is the only company that still has this particular vehicle on the market. So there is no other alternative for you to buy. But that being said, this still is a very good model for you to build. And this kit is not that hard, so I would recommend this for all skill levels. And for those beginners who are doing this, just take your time. Don't rush it, you'll be just fine. What you're going to see next is a video slideshow of my entire completed model kit. But before I go, as always, Just because I put this video here on YouTube, it doesn't make me a model kit expert. I am not an expert. I'm just a regular guy just like you. I hope this video encourages you to build a model kit of your own. Either it's a model tank, a model plane, a model train, a model ship, or even an automobile. It doesn't matter. In the end, it's all about having fun. I'm QDC. Thanks for watching, and as always, please have a great day.